Hey, what's good, YouTube? Hope you're having a fantastic weekend. We are here and we're talking about crypto in general today, which has for the most part stayed somewhat flat over the weekend. Hey, honestly, I would rather take a break from that volatility and just make sure like my crypto is doing fantastic. So Bitcoin, Ethereum, they've stuck around the $30,000 and $1,900 cost levels. But with crypto, you always have people who are coming in and making innovation, right? Now, you see from the title today, we're talking about a project called Mind Games. So before I even get started, I just want to sort of level set here with you. I'm not here to talk trash about Mind Games, the people who played it, or perhaps the team, but I'm going to talk about some of the things I noticed, and I'm also going to talk about some of the things that we should not be accepting in this space, right? One of the nice things about crypto is this is a place that is like a blank canvas, right? A place where really anything sort of goes. And with that, you get the good and you get the bad. And people don't know sort of what's acceptable and what's not. All we know is if we're early adopters to crypto, we stand to make a significant amount of money. And even at this point in the crypto life cycle, when you take a look at the adoption curve, we are still very early in that adoption curve. Now, with all the talk that's happening in the media, I'm actually getting worried because now I'm seeing that people who maybe a few weeks ago or a few months ago were very bearish on crypto are now talking about crypto going to make all-time highs. And like, if you've been in Web3, if you've been in NFTs, if you've been in crypto, you've been bullish for pretty much a long time. It's been rough for the last year and a half, but we sort of gritted our teeth and bared it. But now that sort of like everyone is talking about how crypto is fantastic, it always makes me weary because I do expect that at some point we're going to see a bit of a retracement either to $29,000 for Bitcoin or even $24,000 just because there are liquidity zones available there that sort of institutions can take and then drive the price of Bitcoin up. I think if you have a longer time horizon, then yeah, of course, be bullish on Bitcoin. In the short term, it's really hard to tell, which is why I rarely trade Bitcoin. I rarely trade crypto. I usually wait for an extended move, so an extended bear market or an extended bull market to sort of do my trading. Otherwise, I'm sitting there staying pat and really just, allowing my long-term horizon to guide the way. Let's see who we have in here today. We got Bucksy from Budapest. How's it going? Hey, bullish on DFK. You know, DFK is one of 3 Web3 games that I'm playing right now. So I'm playing DeFi Kingdoms, I'm playing Dragon's Crossing, and I'm playing DeFi Mons. Well, DeFi Mons I'm starting to play. I'm sort of learning the game, doing the quests. I made a video on it yesterday if you want to check it out. But yeah, I'm hyper bullish on DeFi Kingdoms. I think I have an account in the 20,000 to 25,000 US dollar range. And I expect it to grow. Fingers crossed. We don't know what's going to happen. Anything can happen, to be honest. While you're here, make sure you like and subscribe. Make sure that you understand that nothing that I say here today is financial advice. So do your own research and your own diligence, your own due diligence. Don Clady, please do a video on Nikola. So Nikola, before I even talk about it, is a car company, an EV company that was doing some fraudulent activity. They got audited because they were selling their cars to themselves, parking them in garages, and then they sort of got caught, right? Huge sort of audit there. People really lost sort of faith in Nikola. I haven't checked the stock price, but you know what, Don? If you're on in the next 2 days and I'm covering a stock, I'm more than happy to talk about Nikola on there. So I'll make sure I do that at some point, okay? Can you just remind me? Chozo, it's now Wednesday. Yeah, well, one of the things I'm trying to do is trying to do videos more often. So I'm trying to do a video every single day. And for the last 10 days or 9 days I've done that. I'm going to see if that helps me with the YouTube algorithm. Halliday Co-op with DeFi Kingdoms is definitely bullish. I completely agree with you there, Buxy. And you know what? We will talk about that this Wednesday and sort of what we can see happening there. Hey, what's going on? Sunday stream day. Hey, how's it going? Adventures in DFK. That's a fantastic service for the DeFi Kingdoms ecosystem. So just sort of moving on, one of the things when you were in crypto that we really have to be wary about, right, is any person can sort of create a project. You don't have to show your face. It's sort of like creating a business. And they're all a bunch of startups, right? So most people don't enter crypto to become a charlatan. There are very few people who do that. But at the same time, even if you're not a charlatan, I still think we have to hold people to a certain standard. Now, the reason I bring this up is Mind Games is a Web3 game on Arbitrum that has recently gone under. They released this press release earlier this morning, not on Twitter, just in their official Discord. So they said, "Dear researchers, the Mind Games team has reached the difficult conclusion of sunsetting the project." Sunsetting is just a fancy way of saying they're abandoning it. Don't worry, you guys have NFTs. If you want to come on and if you want to take on everything and sort of build from scratch or sort of use our NFTs to build a program, go for it. I'm not really sure how like IP law and everything works there, because the last thing you'd want to do is if, let's say, you like the Mind Games NFT and the framework, you build it up and they come back and go, "Thanks a lot, we'll take it from here." I don't really know. I'm not a lawyer. I should ask Six Intern if they can do that. No clue. But what they're saying here is despite dedicated efforts in product development, the project has failed to gain traction over an extended period. Internal issues related to funding and team dynamics have hindered our ability to achieve a market product fit, which basically is, once again, a fancy way of saying there's not enough demand. We deeply regret any inconvenience caused by this decision. Regrettably, despite the team's best efforts, they lack the resources to sustain the operations. The core founders have exhausted all available options to keep the project going due to a prolonged absence of revenue. So, a couple things here. I monitor a P&L for my actual fiat job. Absence of revenue. My question is, what was their cash burn rate and how much were they actually losing to sustain their operations? None of this stuff is ever shared. You know what I mean? So we just have to take their word for it. The process of winding down the project will begin shortly, as the hosting and other essential services are scheduled to be deactivated within the next few days. And of course, let's sign off with we would like to take this opportunity to express our appreciation and extend our sincere apologies for the unfortunate circumstances. Super unfortunate. It's not like anyone made any money there, right? And sorry, so before I continue with Mind Games, I'll just sort of talk about this. Risen left. I was talking to Bolin I was messaging Bolin about this. He left because he needed a paid job, and sort of DFK couldn't sustain his lifestyle. As you know, they very leaned out the team, very core operation focused right now, and he sort of has a family to a family to take care of. So, we wish him well. I think Risen was fantastic for the space. He's not going anywhere. He's going to be part of DeFi Kingdoms. Anyways, so this for me is not an acceptable sort of announcement. There was no sort of lead up to this. It was just sort of, hey guys, here's an update. Here's an update. Here's an update. By the way, we're not doing anything anymore. Bye guys. Thanks for buying our NFT. Thanks for buying our token. We'll see you later. Now, sort of Mind Games is on Twitter. They have not posted this yet on their Twitter. I have no idea why, when they made this announcement on Discord, why wouldn't you share this on Twitter, right? One of the things that I'm always looking at, and this is sort of something that you should do as well. When I was helping Dragon's Crossing do their launch, there's a ton of people who will approach you that can get you thousands and thousands of people in your Discord, on your Twitter, but then they don't engage with any of your posts. So they're like bot accounts or they're ghosts. So what's the point of having that? And you can tell that on a lot of people's YouTube channels or on their on the Discord or on Twitter. where you see like no one engaging with their posts. Their pinned tweet has 9 likes, 2 retweets, and 1 comment. Like, it's so hard to do this. 4 likes on this, but they got 8,542 followers. Like, you know how hard it is to get that low level of engagement? And it's not because they aren't like a good game or anything like that. From what I've heard, they sort of took the DeFi Kingdoms model, made slight adjustments to it, and were hoping for a big payday. That's what I've heard, right? And one of the things we really have to be focused on, being vigilant on, is this is not the first, and it won't be the last game that does this. Krabata, which was a game out in Avalanche, did the exact same thing. So if you go to their Twitter, which they made this post back in April. We have made important updates about the future of Krabata and plans for the battle game. Read the 4-part article to learn more about what lies ahead. Once again, here they're like, hey guys, we're going to sunset the project, not worth it, blah, 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 blah. Thank you guys so much. And, they have a sort of summarized version here where they said they're going to sunset the operations. Fantastic journey, thriving community, witnessing the growth of Krabata. Thank you for your passion. We want to extend our appreciation to those who supported, partnered, and played. Your passion has inspired us, and we are immensely grateful, right? And they always thing off with like snib. And let's be honest with you, none of that stuff makes anyone feel any better, because you cannot forget something. There are 2 different types of business models, right? You have the business model of a regular entrepreneur who comes in, raises capital, right? So in the real business world, you get venture capitalists to fund your project, to fund your business. If your business goes downhill, you either file for bankruptcy and you don't walk away with any assets. The difference between that sort of model and what's happening in crypto, these projects, they start off, they sell you a dream, right? Almost all crypto projects sell you a dream. And then they fund or they sell NFTs with the hope of achieving that dream. But once they've sold the NFTs, they've done the mints, they've done all these products, they've sort of created these liquidity pools for people to buy their tokens and everything, right? Which is what happened with Krabata and which happened with Mind Games. All of a sudden, from the creator standpoint, they don't have to do anything anymore. The reality is they've already won. Regardless of whether or not the project is successful, they have gotten all the players to take all the risk, right? Now, this is why, doing an IDO or an ICO, getting a token out there is such a bad idea. And so many times we've seen this, right? It's happened with Krabata. This happened with Mind Games. One of the things I posted about back in March 6th, I started a medium position in Cortex or CRX, which was their token. I heard a lot about what they were doing on Arbitrum. They had already failed on another chain. I forget the name of the chain, but they failed on another chain. They were sitting at like a penny or two. They sort of made this huge hurrah. They were going to sort of do things differently. They were going to go on Arbitrum. There's a ton of money. And I saw the tokens sort of go up a lot. I sort of bought in around $8. I sort of sold half my liquidity pool, like I forget how much it was, like above 11 or above $10. And for me, I was looking at this from the perspective of, look, fantastic high APRs, reminds me of the early days of DeFi Kingdoms, right? But I said, do your own research because the token is appreciated a lot. So then what happened was, I remember talking to Starbuck about this. I talked to Starbuck about getting into this as well. I had my sort of support resistance lines drawn. So I had like a pool at $8 on average, right? Around $8. Once it broke, so it tested here at 937, went up, came back down and broke it. The moment it broke it, I messaged Starbuck from Mythic Squad, said, hey, I am selling out completely. I just did it. You do the same thing. He's like, oh, thanks for the heads up. And you know what? Over the next, and I also posted it on Twitter right away because I didn't want anyone to sort of be like, oh my God, I got screwed. Over the next little while, we just saw it just keep going down, right? So from that peak of like 14 something, it went all the way down to $7. And if you look at it now today, it is sitting. So this is back then here. It is now sitting at 2.4 cents a token. This is why you've got to be hyper vigilant when you buy into these inflationary tokens, right? It's a game of chicken. So I had basically made an in and out strategy. If I had bought it and it had just gone down from my sort of entry price, I would have just stopped lost myself out and got out and taken like a 10% cut. So be it, right? There's a risk and the reward to sort of anything. What you don't want to do is buy into these things and just hope, oh my God, it went down so much. Maybe it'll go up, and when it goes up to break even, I'll sell. Sometimes it'll never do that, right? You see here, it came down to like $4, went to 6, went to 4, went to 7, and went to 2 cents, right? So like it is not, and I repeat, not something you want to hold on to long term. But guess what? Obviously, a lot of people made money off this token, and I'm willing to bet a ton of the Mind Games team, like not the moderators and stuff, those people are completely innocent in all of this, right? I'm talking about the core team. What I want to see from a project when they sunset, like let's say you have to sunset, let's say you have to say, hey, you know what? We tried our best. Copying DeFi Kingdoms was not the way to do it, or potentially, our ideas were not a fit for the market. So be it. Then be very transparent with your books. And also, so be very transparent with your books. And also, if you have any money left over, including any money you made from the mints, from sort of like the up and downs of your liquidity pools and everything like that, all of that should be sort of returned as a treasury and sort of divided sort of like somehow within the community and anyone else who was investing. Right? Anyone who holds your NFTs, you get an airdrop or something. That's the way to do it. What I see a ton of projects do is they'll just go, well, we spent a lot of time doing it. So you know what? I think our time was worth the $50 million we got out of it, right? And you can see that in sort of the comments from the Kerbata thing, right? Like Crypto Clay, what a piece of shit. You know what I mean? Joffrey, lol. Coinbusters, thanks for the rug. The market picking up and y'all quitting, right? Remind me never to invest in this team ever again, right? Crypto Carl, I warned everyone for a month, absolute rug all over it, right? And then like some people had all the opportunity in the world. You know what I mean? Tons of these people were just sort of getting in, doing this and making millions of dollars through a project. And at the end of the day, I can't tell you whether or not, they did it intentionally or whatnot. I don't have sort of the insight. But what I do know, and I'm going to be very honest with all of you here, this is something that you need to know. As a YouTuber, as somebody who gets a bunch of views and, whether or not my reputation's good, who knows? But I get a ton of people approaching me, emailing me in my private email at sam@thebrowngen.com. Hey, would you be interested in partnering with us on this project? Sometimes they'll sort of offer me like a percentage for people I bring in. Sometimes they'll give me like $1,000 for me to do like an intro video on it or something like that. Guess what? I don't do any of those things. Why? Because the money is meaningless to me. I already have enough money and I make money through my investments. I do not need to ruin my reputation to sort of make a quick buck. However, not everyone is like that. And by the way, I'm not saying it's bad that other people do it. For them, the money probably means a lot more. And they're willing to sort of compromise stuff. I'm not willing to compromise anything for this because for me, my reputation is key. I will always tell you what I genuinely believe, which is why you'll never see me telling people to sort of buy things at all-time highs, even DeFi Kingdoms, which I am super bullish on. How many times have I told you guys, hey, sell this now, sell this now. I think Tier is going to go down. Tiers is 1.8 cents or 2 cents. It's going to go down. Sell it. And guess what? They did go down. I am very transparent with what I tell you guys. And even with DeFi Mons, I can't tell you the future of DeFi Mons. But what I can tell you is I really like what I see. I really like the team behind the project. I like Gatrino, who is a moderator on both Dragon's Crossing and DeFi Mons. And I'm willing to put I put $500 behind it. I bought a large apartment and I bought like a starter DeFi Mon, right? Not a huge investment. And I also said, do your own research, do your own thing if you want to look into it. The game hasn't started yet. The game won't start for a couple months. They're porting onto Avalanche. And guess what? If I lose it, so be it. But I'm not here telling you, hey guys, you should join DeFi Mod. I'm saying, hey, I think this is cool. This is interesting. If you want to check it out, go for it. Here's a video sort of explaining it. Am I going on and saying, hey, come join us, come do this, join us in the Discord, build the community up? No, I'm not doing that for anything, right? Like I said, the 3 Web3 games I play, DeFi Kingdoms, Dragons Crossing, and DeFi Mod, huge fans on all of them. But at the end of the day, I don't have sort of like I can't tell the future, and I don't have the insight to tell you, hey, this game will be around like 2 years from now, right? They all 3 of them seem like they will be, right? From my standpoint. But what I am looking for is when we have teams that give up, right? If it's okay to wave the white flag. No one is saying you can't. You're always allowed to give up. But if you're allowed to give up, you should be forfeiting all the money that has been made there. That's the only thing I ask. Anything less than that, in my opinion, is a rug. And I was talking to Bob Nothing about this in my Discord, which is sort of why I sort of made this video, just to sort of express sort of my thoughts on this. We have to hold other developers and other communities to a higher standard. The reality is, if we don't do this, if we say it's okay, then they're just going to keep coming back. None of us are forcing anyone to dox anyone else, right? There's a reason you can see my face, right? Show me what other projects, like DeFi Kingdoms, Dragons Crossing, like I'm sure DeFi Mods, they're showing their face. What about these other projects? They all hide behind like images, and then they hope that that's fine, right? But what's going to happen is they just change their username. Oh, I'm back with another project in the bull run, trying to come back and recycle more. What we need to do is, if you give up, that's fine. You can give up, give the money back. If you don't get the money back, you shouldn't be welcome in the Web3 space. Reality of it. And we've got to put our foot down here and say no more. That's just sort of my 2 cents here. So that was a bit of a rant. But if you want to sort of check out sort of more on Mind Games, you can go to mindgames.io. You can check out what they had. Like, they had their own sort of version of Gen Zeros and some other stuff like that too, right? Like a lot of these Web3 games have sort of been built on very similar like dynamics, like to DeFi Kingdoms in this case. Like this is why I only wanted sort of like, DeFi Kingdoms, very unique. Dragons Crossing, like D&D, very unique. And then like DeFi Mods, very unique, like Pokemon, right? We've got 3 different games, sort of 3 different categories, right? That's sort of also why you're not going to see traction. If you just copy somebody blatantly, why would I want to play the copied version of a game that's already doing better, that's already further along, that has sort of shown me that I can trust them, right? DeFi Kingdoms, they have survived the hardest part. Like, honestly, last July, I was genuinely concerned around DeFi Kingdoms. I am no longer concerned. Not one bit, right? Something could change that brings that back. But honestly, they survived probably what was probably the hardest time. Everything else now is like smooth sailing. We are sort of, doing way better. So that's pretty much all I want to talk about Mind Games. So I'm just going to talk to the chat right now and sort of make sure that we get the questions answered. Trey's Mustache, Nicola, I'll make a video on that soon. Where do I see Jewel price in the midterm? So one of the things I'll tell you is I hate giving price targets. The reason I hate giving price targets is if I tell you a price and it doesn't hit there, you won't sell. You won't take profits, or either that or you think it's low. If you ask like, I don't want to say crazy people, but there are some DeFi Kingdoms maxis out there that will tell you Jewel to 100. I don't think there's a world where we see that. I mean, I would love that. Maybe like 10, 20 years from now, 5, 10 years from now, maybe. I think in the midterm, we could see Jewel. It's hard. So one of the things that has to be fixed is the price of Jade and the price of Crystal has got to be a little more connected to the price of Jewel, because otherwise you can make all the Jade and Crystal that you want. The gas fees are significantly higher and you're just not making enough. Like even now, I think it's a 10-1 difference between Jewel and Crystal. right? It's very close to that. What if it's 20 to 1? So what? You're questing for 0.5 joule, and then all of a sudden 0.5 joule gas fees, and you get like 5 tiers? Like, that's not enough. You know what I mean? It won't get you anything. But I could see in the midterm joule's price going to 30 cents, probably, like in the next 3 to 6 months, 30 cents. And I think that's fair. I'm obviously very bullish on the game, but I think that there's still a long runway ahead of us. And I would not be touching Jade and Crystal. I've been very clear on this. Once Jade ever since Jade came out, I was like, I ain't touching Jade. I'm switching Jade into Joule every single time. And there was one point where Jade was maybe 1 Jade for every 2 Joule, right? Now it's 1 Joule for every 12 Jade or something like that, right? Crystal, on the other hand, once it broke I think it was 8 cents, I cut it. So if I go here, I'm going to show you the chart here. So I used to have it fully charted out. Let me see if is it on this one? Oh, I know why. It's because I came down too much. Here. So you see here, I had Crystal charted. So for me, Crystal was I don't want to say a safe bet, but I was okay with some exposure in Crystal from the period of June, mid-June 2022 to what was it? February 24, 2023, right? So what happened was, at that point, it broke my last support level, and then I just completely cut every Crystal I had, and it just sort of sunk. It's lost 80% since. And if you watch my Winning Wednesday videos, you'll see this. I'm very clear. I go through the charts on all of this all the time. I listened to my gut and knew this would happen for the project. I just didn't see it. Yeah, Eric, see, this is what a lot of people have told me as well. Absolutely right. Your 2 cents are correct. Appreciate it. Jade versus Crystal, stay away from both for now. Wait until the unlocks have happened. Do not touch these. What I'd rather you do, if you're doing something, consider Joule and Bitcoin, or Joule or Ethereum or something like that, or even Joule and AVAX. That's not a bad pool. I avoid pools completely because I think that you can get better APRs with Genesis Heroes that will also appreciate more significantly. But that's just my thoughts. Yeah, exactly. So I agree with Chozo here. Crystal unlocks got 6 months and 18 months for full Jade. If you talk to Christian Peter, it's so funny. I love it. He was saying the first time Jade had a positive green candle, he's like, yo, I want to touch it, because it's you can't see it here, but it was all red at one point for Jade. Was it back in June? Yeah. So you see here, the Jade first crystal, or the Jade first green candle over here were 1.2 cents, right? And we're up to almost 1.5 cents now. But before then, it was just literally just straight down. Can you imagine this? Just a straight slip and slide, It's bad. I'm just keep putting this out. Yeah, it was very bad. So the price, and this is what happens, right? Don't be surprised. This happened with a ton of inflationary tokens, right? This is why you want to inflationary tokens. I should sort of say one more thing there, because there are other inflationary tokens, right? Like Atom, AVAX. You want a lot of demand for it, right? More demand than supply can hold. And in this case, there isn't enough. And there's a ton more being created, and there's so much more churn, right? I've slowly added both Jade Joule and Crystal Joule, because go GFK. Hey, good luck. Hope that works out for you. Like I said, I don't have any pools. I have 7 Genesis Heroes on my account. I've got 40 Mythic Heroes, 30 Mythic Pets, something like that. So it's good. Anyways, I hope you guys have a great weekend. I actually got to run. Tune in to Grady's stream later today, because he's going to be talking about DFK Helper. He has Crypto Baby H on there as well. So check that out. Also, please follow us at The Brown Gent on YouTube, The Brown Gent on Instagram, and The Brown Gent YT on Twitter. I just want to thank you all. Where is this? I want to thank you all for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.